Good morning, good people. It is Morning Cafe. According to the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority, there was an estimated 75,000 people who needed corneal transplants as of June 2023. Furthermore, there are over 1,000 documented patients on the waiting list across various eye hospitals in the country awaiting corneal transplantation. This morning, cornea and refractive surgery specialist Dr. Priyanka Vihar will be telling us why it is important for you this morning to pledge to donate your cornea upon death and the do's and don'ts of the same. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
First off, it is one of those controversial kind of topics when it comes to even organ transplantation, and you're telling people this is what we're requesting you, a call to action, so to speak. But before all that, we can definitely start with the anatomy of the eye.
Yeah, sure.
Because I call it the window of the first thing that when you look at someone, it is, you're looking at them with the eyes. Okay. Walk us through the anatomy of the eyes before we walk through anything else.
Sure. That's the most important thing. So good morning, everyone, today. So this is the eye, as you can see. Yeah. There is a myth that the whole of the eye is removed while transplantation, while eye donation or retrieval, but it's not like that. It's usually the cornea or the corneoscleral button which is removed. The whole eyeball is in 0.1% or 0.5% of cases only will remove or enucleate, but most of the 99% of times it's only the cornea and corneoscleral button. Okay. So when we remove the cornea, as you can see, now let's get to the point that what is the cornea.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the eye that you are seeing. The cornea forms the outermost cover of the eye. It covers the iris and the pupil. It is completely transparent. It's through which the light enters the eye. It acts as a window through which light enters the eye. So the light passes through the cornea, then through the pupil, the lens. The lens is also transparent. Then through the vitreous and falls on the retina. All the information from the retina is passed on through the optic nerve, which goes to the brain. So the information now is processed in the brain, what we are seeing, right? So if the cornea is clouded or not transparent or hazy or infected, then the light is blocked from entering. That's when we start seeing blurry or don't see well. So that is the point when we are looking at patients that who might require a transplant or replacement. So the sclera forms the surrounding area of the cornea, which is the white. So when you're looking at a person, you cannot actually make out the cornea because it is transparent. Right. We are seeing the iris. So the color of the eye is given by the iris.
Oh, not the... Okay.
Not the cornea. Cornea is the completely transparent one.
So just to get the whole reference as you put it, it's a window, and the window is it's a very clear kind of a window.
It's clear,
so you're just seeing through it. And with that, again, reference, so that means that the cornea is at a very huge risk of, in any kind of, someone is had damage, injury, cornea is the first point of impact.
Yes, point of impact, you're correct.
All right. Anything else that we need to know on the anatomy of this? Yes.
So we are looking at all the parts of the eye which should be functioning completely well so as one to see clearly. So if other parts of the eye other than the cornea is also affected, then the patient's vision will be affected. Yeah.
Right. Is there a certain age gap that one is more susceptible to either the cornea being damaged, infections?
See, the corneal problem can come in anyone at any age. Even a child can be born with a corneal opacity. Okay. So no one is like immune that what age can in that happen. Okay, any person, like injury, any age can happen. Opacity forms after the injury is healed or after the surgery. Infection can also come in at any point, when it's conjunctivitis or other point when you get an corneal ulceration. Ulceration is actually a defect there, which is infected there in the cornea, and it causes the cornea to melt. We'll get to some pics later on, wherein we'll actually see how a corneal ulcer looks like in a way. So there are other conditions also which affect the cornea other than the infection and these things.
Right. So before we even get to the pics, even as we do that as well, remember you can always be part of this conversation. You're watching us this morning. Na unajua mtu mwenye hii maneno inamsumbua, the whole cornea, and they're telling you sioni vizuri nini. Talk to us. Dr. will be answering all your questions. You have that number on your screen, 0795 045 864. Save it right now. Then you call us. If you can't actually call us, text us on WhatsApp, 0793 267 279. You can also text us on our SMS number, 22047, and ask Dr. all those questions you have concerning this whole cornea eye transplant, as well as donation, in case you're interested in donating your cornea. She'll be telling us all about that. We can definitely get into some of these photos so that we understand the eyes. So what are we seeing here right now?
Okay, so this is the post-transplant photo. Okay, this is the pic post-transplant. So as you can see, the cornea was affected due to, in this patient, it was keratoconus. So keratoconus is the most common condition requiring a transplant in Kenya and also worldwide. But here the incidence is quite common. In this condition, the cornea becomes conical instead of the normal spear shape. Normally the cornea is like a spear in layman terms. So when it loses its shape and points out like a cone, then the condition is called as keratoconus. So this condition is affecting from the age group of 10 to maybe 40 and after that as well. But here in Kenya, I have seen children as young as 6 years old as well, requiring a transplant, reaching a stage of transplant also when they are coming to the clinic. Even a child as young as 6 has been operated for transplant surgery, which had a keratoconus in here. So this is a post-transplant pic, and as you can see, the cornea, you cannot make it out. Can you really make it out? It's completely clear, right? And there are sutures there. They are so fine. They are called as 10-0 monofilament suture. They are like hair, as thin like hair, less than hair as well. We just can see it under the microscope, right? So those are 16 stitches that we put equidistant, and the central cornea, as you can see now, that is the replaced 8 millimeter to 9 millimeter cornea for the patient. And the center is completely clear now. He is able to see well.
Right. We can have now for this one. There's something maybe wrong with the eyes.
Yeah.
Just by looking at it. With this eye, what is it really? Does it lack the cornea for this
one? The cornea is there. As I told you, when the cornea loses its transparency, maybe due to a scar, maybe infection. Now this patient has a melting. It is inflammatory melting. It has lost its transparency as well. Okay, and it has melted. So when it has melted, the inside part is trying to come out. If you can see, the iris and all is adherent there. It was also done a part transplant maybe of the perforated part, but then it also gave way. So this particular patient had a peripheral ulcerative keratitis. It's keratitis means an infection in the cornea or inflammatory condition in the cornea. So that caused the melting of the cornea starting from the periphery. That is why it is called as a peripheral ulcerative keratitis. So this condition can also be associated with certain conditions in the body as well, like autoimmune diseases and tuberculosis or other things. So we rule out the cause and all. So he had in both eyes the similar thing, and he had an autoimmune disease associated with it. So that is why the melting was there. So now this particular patient, now we have to give support with another cornea there. So if you can go to the next pic, maybe you can see the post-op picture. So there. So there we have replaced the cornea along with a part of the sclera, because the sclera was also melted. Sclera is the white part, right? So now that is sutured there in place. Yes. So everything, the melted part was removed and now replaced with a healthy cornea. So this is the day one picture, which clears up eventually, and then you can see also the lens and all that way.
So now the thing on top now is
the donor cornea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now this is during the process of now
healing. It's the first post-op day for the patient. There, day one post-op. So this is how it is looking. So not only the cornea, also the sclera can be transplanted in some patients. Yeah.
Do all patients undergo the same type of implants as well?
No.
And transplants?
Okay, if we come to the types of transplant, there are certain indications and certain types as well. So looking at the indications now, what we have seen was a melted cornea due to inflammatory condition, right? So these fall under the tectonic indications. Tectonic means which the outermost coat has given way, that is the cornea as well as the sclera. So that is forming a supporting transplant there, which includes this inflammatory peripheral ulcerative and other condition like staphyloma, protrusion of the eye in layman terms. And second is optical. Optical means the infection is gone, there is a scar, there may be a scar post-trauma, anything blocking the clarity. Like post-cataract or any other surgeries, the cornea loses the transparency because of the swelling in there. So all these patients fall under the indication of optical transplant. So the optical transplant means now we are changing or replacing the cornea for giving vision. Okay, that was one indication. Third indication is therapeutic. Therapeutic means now the melted cornea due to infection.
Okay.
Now we want to remove the infected cornea and remove most part of the infected cornea, right? And the infection also from the that part of the eye. So that forms a therapeutic indication. In that purpose, in that surgery, we want to get rid of the infection, right? So this is the third indication of the procedure. So these are the indications. I mean, and then the types are also different. Types means wherein we are transplanting the whole of the cornea, that is penetrating keratoplasty. If we are transplanting layers of the cornea, it is lamellar keratoplasties.
All right.
So
the possibility of having both eyes needing transplant for the cornea, how high is it?
Yeah, it's, certain conditions affect both eyes. Like I told you, in this patient, he had both eyes affected or melted because of the peripheral ulcerative keratitis. Keratoconus is a condition which affects both eyes more or less. One might be in a higher stage than the other. So, of course, we find patients who might need the transplants in both eyes. Now, those patients fall under the priority because they are not seeing well. If one eye is seeing well, you're still able to do your daily work, right? You can still able to read, you can still able to go to give your exams or something. When both eyes are affected, you cannot do even the daily routine, right? So at least we can go ahead and do the first one, and then later on we can go for the second.
Right. So Dr. Harry, someone has listened to you this morning, and either they're quite interested in visiting either you at Lions or any other eye hospital. So what kind of conversations will go on? Are there certain tests that they need to have? And as well, because now even you could help us with maybe the signs and symptoms of how do you know that you need maybe a transplant for your cornea? Yeah.
So whenever a patient walks in the clinic, it's not, all the conditions are not related to the cornea itself. As I told you, all the parts of the eye have to function well to see clearly, right? So when a patient walks in, the first thing we check what is his vision, how he is seeing, right? Then refraction comes in place, how much his vision improves with glasses, right? We do certain eye pressure test and all those things, whether eye pressure also is okay or not. Then comes the slit lamp examination. We view the eye under a magnifying microscope, slit lamp microscope, so as to see how it is. So exactly when we see the eye, we can come to know there is a scar, or
I think even as you mentioned, that can also, even for next photo here, if we can have it, which again speaks on what you're telling us.
Yeah, this is the same patient now that after 1 week. See, the cornea is cleared now. It's better than before.
Right.
Yeah, it has taken up well. The next pic, you can go to that.
You can have the next one.
This is also a post-transplant pic. Yeah, this patient also had an infection, melted cornea.
Right.
Yeah.
And even for the final, so what undergoes, during the tests, what happens?
Yes. So as soon as we see the patient on the slit lamp, we come to know that the cornea is now not clear. Maybe it has a scar, maybe it is swollen, maybe the shape is conical, maybe a trauma or injury or a cut. So the symptoms will be accordingly. So if the patient has a trauma, he'll come with painful eye, the eye is watering, he will have a history of trauma. As we examine, we come to know there is a cut, maybe also developed a cataract post-trauma, or the iris is coming out. These are the patients who present with a history of trauma, then it has to be immediately done the repair. Okay. At that point, if some patients also have the injury which is such that the cornea cannot be sutured that well. Okay. Because of the cheese wiring and then mild infection also presenting at that point. So in those, even at that condition also, we can primarily start with replacing the cornea at that point. Then some patients can come up with a chemical injury as well. You know, some of the chemicals like the dyes or lime injuries.
Okay.
Yeah, these patients also present with watering eye and the cornea is hazy. There might be a defect or melting in the cornea as well. As I did not mention before, cornea consists of 6 layers.
Okay.
Okay, it has 6 layers. So all the layers have different functions. So every layer has to function well so as to maintain the transparency of the eye, of the cornea. So in the chemical injury case, the scenario will be different. The epithelium and the superficial layers or maybe the inside layers might have melted. There might be a defect, haziness of the cornea, right? The limbal stem cell deficiency. So this is different type of presentation wherein the management also, initial management differs. Yeah. The patient can come up with a painful red eye. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
When he presents, then we have some infection or yellowish looking ulceration on the cornea. Yeah, that is an ulcer in the cornea.
So it means, Dr. that once the cornea is even slightly damaged,
yes,
its function is for all the 6 layers, its function is completely lost. You have to get another one.
No, it doesn't depend on that. Initially, it will be medical management. Then if we are looking at a scar or a haziness there, we also check what is the refraction. If with the glasses the vision is improving to a certain point where the condition is manageable, where he is able to do his work, then we can wait for some more time. Okay, but if it's not seeing well, of course the transplant is the only option.
Okay.
And as I told you, we also replace in layers. Layers means, now as I told you, there are 6 layers of the cornea. So if the innermost layer, which is the endothelium, yeah, that is also a very important layer which helps in maintaining the transparency by pumping out the water from the cornea, right? And maintains the healthiness of the cornea. So if that layer is affected particularly and other layers are okay, then we can only go to replace that layer. That is also possible. We have also done those types of surgeries here at Lions.
Here in Kenya?
Yeah.
All right,
yes,
all right.
yes.
And
even the anterior part. Now, if that layer is okay, if the innermost layer is okay, endothelium and the descemet, they are okay, but the anterior, that is the layers in front are affected, like in keratoconus or a scar which is superficial. Okay, scar means a whiteness in the cornea. Do you get what is a scar, I think? Yeah.
Well, you can definitely leave and try and explain for the viewer in layman's terms what.
So when a cornea is not transparent, it forms a scar. Scar is whiteness there. Okay, you will see as whiteness. Now this picture, as you are seeing, is ulceration. Okay. This is an active ulcer on the cornea, and the cornea is melted there. Okay. Right. So in the center, if you can see you can see a clear zone. Yeah, there's a clear zone. This is a whitish zone there, right?
Yeah.
This is all melted and infected cornea. All right. This patient had a fungal infection, and then also in the center there is a clear zone. That clear zone doesn't mean that the infection is not there. That's melted or completely perforated cornea. So all the 6 layers have given way there. They have been eaten up by the germs, right? So that cornea is now has a hole there. That is why we called it as a perforated cornea or completely melted cornea there. So since it is not giving the support there, the structure of the eyes collapsed.
Okay.
Right? There is a space between the cornea and the iris. It's not flat. There is a space.
Okay.
So that space is now collapsed because of the melting. Okay. So now this is an indication as well for a transplant.
And just to follow up, just to reiterate, because you keep on mentioning the whole melting, and someone might really be curious, what leads to the melting?
Now in this condition is an infection.
Okay.
Infection can be fungal, bacterial, viral, parasitic, right? So in this condition, because of the infection and ulceration, the germs have eaten up the cornea there.
Okay.
All right, so it has melted because of the infection and also the inflammation which comes up with any infection in the eye.
All right.
Yeah.
Earlier on, I had mentioned that according to the Kenya Transplant and Tissue Authority, in Kenya, that was as of June last year, about 750,000 plus. The numbers could be more. Require a corneal transplant. About 1,000 plus are on the waiting list as of that time. I know for even from Lions, your numbers might even be more or different. But then how the situation on that, as someone who is in this industry, what are your thoughts on that?
What's your thought on the donation?
And the fact that there's so many, a huge
People
number of
waiting.
people, yes, on the waiting list.
Yes, so in Lions also, there are more than 1,000 patients waiting for the transplant. We also have a priority list wherein the patients who don't see with both eyes, who are one-eyed, one eye doesn't see, so they're basically dependent on one-eyed. Children, which we give priority out of these as well.
Why is that?
Because they are not seeing well. With one, if one eye is functioning, the other eye can at least see, that eye can at least see. So it's not like 100% priority, a bit that way, all right? But also elective list and emergency list also is there, okay? So there are more than 1,000 patients waiting for the transplant, also at Lions. So what I would like to say is, children also are waiting. These all people fall in the age group, working age group between 10 to 50, and also the studying age group. Like, if you're not able to study well, how will you look at a better future, right? Even if you're in the working age group, it's very important for you to see well, to continue with your daily life. Yeah, driving as well as writing, typing, everything is affected, right? So this is even if you're above 50 or 60, every day is important to you, right? To go to the washroom, to be able to see where you're walking is very important, to have an independent life, right? So for that purpose, it's very important for everyone to pledge to donate their eyes, because at every walk of life, every phase is important, whoever it is, and those patients are waiting to see this beautiful world, right? So I wish everyone to pledge to donate their eyes after death. So this donation can only be done when we are dead. So no, you don't have a life donor here in these conditions, yeah.
For these people, the thousands who are in the waiting list, how long do they stay in the waiting list, based on even what you're telling us? It really goes to show that for thousands of people to be in a waiting list, that means that there is a huge demand, and there's a low supply.
Yes.
Why is that?
That's the main thing I want to focus also. We want more people to come ahead to donate their eyes, right? I think lack of awareness is one of the points, that people are not aware that so many patients, so many people are actually in need. Yeah, parents come with their children to the clinic. Yeah, they just come for saying that they are not seeing well since few years, but then we already seeing the child is in the stage of reaching a transplant, right? So awareness, lack of awareness, we are not even coming to the clinic in the initial phases of not seeing well. So people are not aware that we might even need a transplant for the eye in such a situation. Yeah. So lack of awareness that this type of surgery is also there, this type of demands might also be there, and so many people are actually waiting for the procedure is not known to many. People might think that it might not be beneficial also if they are doing that act, but it is wrong. People do absolutely well. This type of transplant is different from the other organ transplants also in a way that the success rate is very high. See, as I told you, the cornea doesn't have any blood vessels as well.
Okay.
So it's avascular. We don't need blood group matching. So if the cornea is okay after we have evaluated, it can be used for anyone. Even the age group is not a bar for donating the cornea.
Right.
So it's anybody can donate that, right? So this awareness is also not there. Thirdly, I think there are some religious myths that we have. that once you have to go with your whole organs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the myths that the people have, that to be born, you should be buried with your whole organs. You might also enlighten on that one. Yeah.
Does anything change if you harvest the cornea from this person who has just died, and I look at them, as much as, yes, you're telling us is transparent, but does anything change on the eyes?
No.
Do I even notice?
As I told you, you will not even know. You are seeing the iris color, right? You are not even see what is the cornea if it is transparent. Unless and until it develops a scar or infection like this, you will not even know there is something there, right? So when we also harvest the cornea scleral button, it's not visible. We'll not come to know that it has been removed. We also put an eye shield, a small thing to cover the eye. So when we close the eye, nothing is also known that it has been removed.
So hypothetically, someone registered to be a donor, as listening to you this morning, and they're very interested, and they say, hey, Daktari, I'd like to also be a donor. And then, so hypothetically, this person loses their life early in the morning at 6 a.m. And either they had told the family members or not. So how does maybe Lions, and which I'm actually talking to the right person, because from where you come from, you have an eye bank since I think 2009, the first in even East Africa, really. So how will now the doctors know that this person has died and they come to harvest the cornea from this person who had registered to be a donor?
Okay, so there are different approaches of this thing, we have a fully functional 24 hours Lions eye bank. We have an eye bank team, eye bank ambassadors. The eye bank team consists of technicians, driver, doctor, and the eye bank ambassadors are certain people in the community who are also aware of the need for the eye donation. They are also in contact with us. So what happens is, the first thing is, if I am pledging to donate the eyes, we have a pledge form, right? So at that point, the pledge form can be filled even now. So in the event of the death, I have already told my relatives, the next of our kin, right? So next our kin should be aware that we are interested in donating the eye after death. Right?
Do the relatives also need to sign? Because
not at that point of pledging. When you are informing your wish to donate, that is also okay. It doesn't need to be a pledged form as well. Wish to donate the eyes can also be conveyed to the relatives or the close ones. That's also enough. But if you are pledging, that is also official in a way. So when you're pledging, there is a pledge form that we have. That form is kept in the eye bank. Also, there is a card. That card you can put in your wallet or in your pocket. And then in the event of this unnatural or whatever accidental, or if it is any point of death, that card is there. But then they have to inform our eye bank in a way, right? But even if your relatives are knowing, or if you have not pledged, but your relatives or next of the kin are ready to or wish to donate your organs, that is also possible. The informed consent has to be signed by the next of kin as well. When we are going for taking our cornea retrieval, we do take the informed consent from the next of kin as well. Yeah, because we are not there, so they have to sign there.
Approve it. Naturally, I hear for, let's say, certain body organs that after this person dies, there's a certain amount of time that is required to maybe harvest the particular organ. I think for heart, there's a certain time. Does it also go with the cornea, based on the fact that you're telling us that they don't have blood vessels and all the like? Does it definitely require? And even as you answer that, we do have Emmanuel from Makadara. Emmanuel, habari asubuhi.
Salama sana.
Thank you for calling us. Do you have a question or any feedback?
Kuna maoni alafu niko na swali
Yes, sawa.
Kuna maoni ambayo nimejua saa hizi kama you can actually donate the only after someone is dead.
Emmanuel, kabla uendelee, unaweza paza sauti kidogo ndio daktari akupate vizuri?
Sawa. Nimefurahia sana kusikia daktari akisema kitu ambayo siko nimehajua. Kwamba unaweza donate hiyo cornea after umekufa. Ambayo ni kitu mzuri. Once umekufa, I think for me I'm ready to do that.
You're
Yeah, I'm ready to do that
you're ready.
When I die.
Okay.
And I'm ready even to donate any other organ that can be reused. Also, nataka nimuulize daktari, my grandfather,
yes,
one of my grandfather alikuwa blind at around 70 something years.
Okay.
Hatukujua kama kitu kama hii inaweza fanyika.
All right.
And I've seen the doctor there saying I want to prioritize watoto. Na naona hii issue ina affect sana ile old age. So ebu atuambie which type of which generation ama ni miaka ngapi ndio hii mambo ina affect zaidi. Asante sana Stano, tulikuwa tumekumiss. Tunashukuru tunakuona.
Sawa. Asante sana Emmanuel kutoka Makadara for the comment as well as the question. And comment is, he says he's ready to donate.
Oh my, that's
yes.
That's really, I'm really happy to hear that. You don't know how much we are in need of that.
How often, even before I get to the question, how often do you hear people tell you that they're ready to donate their corneas?
It's not very often, to be frank, here, but yeah, it's rare.
Okay,
yeah.
So and that to his question, he says grandfather was blind. And he was at his 70s, and he's curious that at what age does all this matters start to crop up, and someone really needs a cornea transplant.
Yeah. So as I told you, for his grandfather, he started at the age of 70 or what, we don't know, but the condition can develop at any point of life, you know. Trauma, as I told you, can happen any point. The corneal swelling can develop after any surgery as well, or in any viral infection, or any. You can be born with the condition wherein the cells endothelial layer is not functioning well, that causes a swollen cornea. So at any point of life, anybody can develop a condition which can affect the transparency of the cornea. It can be by birth. It can be acquired also at a later age as well.
Right.
But different age groups have different conditions that affect the cornea as well.
Right. The couple of questions coming in. Someone, they don't say their name. Hello, TV47. How risky is the process of donating a cornea?
Okay. See, the cornea donation can only be done after death, right? So as well, when you're dead, if you donate, that's the best gift that you can give to someone. Okay. Otherwise, it's all going to different forms of cremation or burying or whatever according to a religious thing it's going to go, right? So it's of no use to us, right? So donation for that person, I think it's not risky at all.
After also, okay. And
for the donor.
For the donor. And this is what I had asked before Emmanuel had called, the duration of time required. Before, after someone has died, is a certain amount because, as I was saying, for different organs in the body, they require certain time so that they can be useful. Does it also apply to cornea?
Yes, for the cornea as well. Within 6 hours of that, we should be retrieving the cornea, okay? In certain very cold areas, if the body is refrigerated and all those, then the time can be extended a bit as well. So, but within 6 hours, we should remove the cornea scleral rim. Right. But then what happens is that rim is, once we remove it, we put it in a media. That is the cornisol or usol. That medium is used for transportation as well as storage. Okay, so in that medium, the cornea is viable for up to 14 days.
Okay.
So within this 14-day span, now we can use the cornea for the transplantation.
Right. Hold that thought. Pauline from Ruiru. Habari asubuhi, Pauline.
Nzuri.
Tafadhali paza sauti kidogo, hatukupati.
Mimi niko mzuri.
Asante sana kwa kupiga. Swali au maoni?
Nataka kuuliza swali juu niko na mgonjwa mwenye haoni.
Okay.
Na nilikuwa nauliza wakati tulienda kule Lions. Na kaambiwa jicho yake ni kama hata ingine inaweza kuwa iko na shida. Sasa hii moja haioni.
Okay.
Sasa ndio nauliza hii pressure ya macho ni the same na hii yenye mnasomesha hapa?
Kama pressure ya macho ni the same na?
Na hii mnasema cornea.
Okay.
Yes.
Daktari, have you got the question?
No.
Daktari anaomba urudie swali.
Mimi nauliza, niko na mgonjwa, jicho moja haioni.
Okay.
Na hiyo jicho moja juu haioni, aliambiwa mpaka atatumia dawa miaka yake yote. Sasa venye nimeona mkisomesha hapa mambo ya macho,
okay,
ndio nauliza yeye kama anaweza fanyiwa hii transplant ndio hiyo jicho yake ione.
Okay. So, asante sana Pauline. Salimia sana watu wa Ruiru.
Nitawasalimia.
Have you got the question now? Okay, so just to paraphrase, she says that she has a patient who one of the eyes, Hayoni, one of the eyes cannot see clearly, yes, and the patient was told to use medicine for a certain amount of time of their life, and she'd like to know if this cornea transplant might just be the silver bullet that this patient requires.
Yes, so the thing is, we are not yet sure what she has said, that her patient is affected due to a cornea issue. We are not yet sure about that. But if it is a cornea issue, yes, of course, transplant does help. But there are certain risks also. I mean, these patients, we need to know whether there is an active infection, how is the eye pressure, how is the lens, if the retina is affected or not, is the optic nerve okay. So if it's only the cornea which is affected and rest of the eye is okay, then it is safe to say that yes, corneal transplant will work in this particular patient. Also, associated dryness and all should not be there. So all in all, if it's only the cornea affected, we do have good results.
Right. Pauline, I hope umepata jibu hapo. In case unaona kama bado daktari haja jibu venye ulikuwa unataka, unaweza tupigia tena. And that goes to every one of you listening to us this morning. Unaweza ambiwa pia watu wa your friends and family watupigie simu. The number is on the bottom of your screen, 0795 045 864. And daktari will be answering all these questions that you have concerning all that, as well as WhatsApp 0793 267 279. And speaking of which, there's a question here. Can a cornea cross-linking patient stop wearing glasses?
Okay. All right. So first of all, we should know what is cross-linking and in which condition it is done, right? So cross-linking is done in patients affected with keratoconus. We also discussed previously, keratoconus is a condition of the cornea wherein the cornea has become conical instead of the normal spherical shape, right? So now this cross-linking is done for stopping the further worsening of the condition. Okay, this keratoconus can be in various stages, stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Depending on what stage the patient has come and what was his vision, whether he did require glasses, whether the glasses were helping him to see well or not. Cross-linking procedure per se is not for removal of glasses. Okay, it is for stopping the further worsening of the condition called keratoconus. So if before doing the cross-linking or at the point of cross-linking, the patient did require glasses and he was improving with them, he will still need glasses post-cross-linking.
Right. We have a caller, Teresia from Naivasha. From Naivasha all the way. Teresia, habari asubuhi? Teresia, uko na sisi bado ama ume... Right, kama Teresia amepotea. Tupigie tena 0795 namba yetu ya kutupigia simu. Our short code 22047. So go back to text pia and throw in all those questions. So before, okay, you had answered the whole cross-linking. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure now one of the biggest conversations and questions that people always have when it comes to kutembelelea daktari is the cost. And here you're telling us that this is... an item that is very precious in the country because it's very rare to even get it in most of these eye hospitals. So first of all, where does, even for Lions, where do you source this cornea if a number of Kenyans are either not aware that they need to donate them after death? Where do you source them, first of all?
See, as I told you, first of all, we can pledge or our relatives should be ready to donate at that point of time should take the decision. Then you connect to the iBank personnel, okay? Which we have a 24-hour functioning iBank which are ready on call to go to the spot, Okay?
Okay.
So this is one of the things. We have eye bank ambassadors also in certain places as well, in cities, in other cities as well.
And could I interrupt you? Speaking of cities, Oyugi from Kisumu City. Oyugi, do you have a question or feedback even as you continue this conversation?
Hello?
Hello, Oyugi, unanipata?
Nakupata sasa.
Yes.
Sikuweza kusikia. Sasa nilikuwa naomba kuulizia.
Yes, uliza.
Baba yangu ali lose vision.
Your daughter?
My father, my dad.
Father, okay.
Sasa nikamleta hapa Kisumu.
Okay.
Kuna daktari aliyemwangalia macho.
Okay.
Lakini sasa baadaye
Oyugi, kabla uendelee tafadhali wacha kujisikiza. Mute TV.
Ngoja nirudishe volume. Sasa baba yangu alikuwa na shida na macho.
Okay.
Sasa nikamleta hapa akatibiwa, lakini wakasema kwamba ako na shida na retina. So I don't know what can be done because he is not seeing. Tutafanyaje ili aweze kuona? Na shida ni retina. Alipigwa x-ray ikaonekana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Yugi, for that question. Dr. will be answering that for you.
Okay, all right.
All right. Yugi says that the father lost vision. The doctor examines and found that the problem is with the retina.
Okay.
This is after the whole x-ray shows that there's a problem on the retina. And he'd like to know what could be done.
Okay. So as a cornea specialist, talking about retina is difficult. But see, if the retina is affected, of course, the treatment lies with what is the condition affecting the retina. So there are different treatment options depending on what is the exact reason why the retina is affected, right? But as you know, cornea and sclera are the only thing, and the stem cells, these are the only things which can be transplanted. We cannot transplant a retina, right? But there are different types of surgeries, lasers, injections that they do for depending on what is the condition affecting the retina. So there are different treatment options for that as well.
Right.
But cornea will not help. If the cornea is not affected, we cannot treat there. We only have to treat what is affected.
Right.
Yeah.
There's someone on WhatsApp saying, good morning, I'm Dravil. Dr. Priyanka has operated my both eyes due to keratoconus. The right one was done transplant and the left one cross-linking last week. Now my question is, can one request for a transplant or the doctor has to decide herself?
Okay. It's it's not about one requesting. It's about how much is the vision improving, right? We have to look at what is the condition. Secondly, what affecting the cornea. Okay, why is it? In his case, it is keratoconus, right? So in keratoconus as well, we cannot advise transplant in stage 1.
Okay.
The keratoconus consists of 4 stages. So when the patient is already in stage 3 or in stage 4, wherein there develops a scarring and hydrops, so in those conditions, in that stages, only we advise a transplant. In the earlier stages, if the patient is improving with glasses, of course, cross-linking and then glasses.
Right.
If not glasses, then hard contact lenses is an option. In Lions, we are also doing another innovative surgery, which is new in Kenya as well as in Africa. It's called as CARES. CARES is corneal allogenic intrastromal ring segment. In keratoconus, we are also transplanting a ring in the form of a ring, the cornea, okay? The central cornea is okay, but the periphery we put a ring to flatten the cone. So this is done in certain advanced cases as well, which is also an option, and the results are good, yeah? So that is also a third or fourth option. And if vision is not improving, then transplant is the only option to see better.
Right.
Because all the patients don't fall in the category of CARES or these things as well.
Right. More questions for you, Dr. What treatment does a cataract patient require? My mom has a cloudy eye. How can she be helped?
For a cataract?
Yes.
Cataract, you see, the cataract, of course, requires a surgery. Yeah. See, what is cataract that you have to understand? The lens is normally transparent. Just like cornea is transparent, the lens is also transparent. But once it starts losing its transparency, we call it is developing a cataract, right? So the cataract has caused the lens to become cloudy or hazy. Now, will the light enter the eye? clearly as it used to before. It will not. So there is nothing, no eye drops or nothing that can help to clear the lens which has become cloudy. Surgery is the only option there.
Right. We have a caller, Simuel from Lolongo. Habari ya Mombasa, Simeon from Lolongo. Habari ya Simeon.
Salama sana labda.
Uko na swali au ni maoni? And I hope umemute ama umezima TV.
Nimeshazima TV. Niko na swali.
Yes.
Swali yangu ni hivi, nilishikwa na kitu, nilikuja nikaambiwa kwa hospitali hapa Nairobi. Ni cataract. So jicho moja peke yake ndio iongei. Haioni?
Okay.
So lakini
you seem to have lost hapo kidogo, but then if I get you clearly, unasema you yourself have kuna shida ya jicho moja na uliambiwa ni cataract.
Niliambiwa ni cataract moja.
Okay, sawa. Haya. Sawa, wacha daktari atakuwa na kuelezea. That is Simeon from Lolongo. Na daktari, a similar question to the whole bit of cataract, saying that after a number of tests in a Nairobi hospital, kaambiwa kuna cataract on one of the eyes. I think it goes to what you were answering earlier.
Yes.
We can definitely reiterate on the same for Simeon to also understand further.
Yes. So cataract, as I told you, the lens has now become cloudy, right? It can affect also any age group. Even children are born with cataract sometimes, as young as 1 month or few weeks old, 2 months old. So any age group can develop a cataract, congenital, acquired, or then it can develop as a senile cataract after a certain age related to diabetes as well. Some patients, diabetic patients are particularly earlier develop the cataract as compared to others as well. The senile cataract tends to be earlier in those. So anything affecting the transparency of the lens, then we just remove the nucleus. Then in the back we put another clear lens after the surgery. Now that will be acting as the natural lens, helping the rays to focus on the retina.
Right.
So surgery is the only option for cataract.
All right. More questions coming in, and it seems people, the fact that we're talking about eyes, and there's a specialist for that. We decided to spread the net on their questions. Someone asks, first off, I'm Job from Kitale. I have a question to Daktari. Someone's eyes may be presenting with jaundice, meaning yellowish eyes. Can it still be donated?
See, it depends on the cause for the jaundice as well, right? So the liver is affected in his condition, right? Or if it is not an infectious cause, okay, then it can still be donated.
Right. Another one, if you're willing to donate, is there any compensation you're given before your death after willing to compensate?
What you are saying? Repeat.
So the person doesn't say the name. They're asking if you're willing to donate. Is there any compensation you're given before your death after willing to compensate?
No. See, this act of donation is based on free will, and it's a noble act, right? There's no monetary benefit or no these things given or taken. It's a donation. That is why it's called as a donation, right? It's given out of free will. So it is not sold, and it is not given any monetary benefit or anything. It just we don't charge even for that cornea that is donated out of free will here.
Right.
Okay, so it's only the surgery charges.
Right.
Yeah.
Another one. Good morning. After one gets a cornea transplant, can that cornea serve? I believe she meant cornea, serve them for the rest of their life, or does it have a lifespan, quote unquote? And if so, how long?
Okay. Now again, that's a good question. So going back to how long a cornea will survive will depend on what was the condition why was it grafted in the first place, right? If it was an infection, then it was a therapeutic. In that condition, it has served its purpose of removal of the infection, right? So eventually we need to go back to optical. Optical means another one maybe if required for the vision purpose, right? Secondly, if there is a chemical injury related transplant, the cornea surrounding area is also not that healthy. There might be dryness, there might be certain stem cell deficiency which help in the healing of the cornea after the procedure, right? Because even if you're doing the transplant, the cornea has to heal itself, right? So if you have associated glaucoma, now the eye pressure also, it affects the cornea which is transplanted, right? So depending on the primary indication, the life of the cornea might vary. But all in all, it is a good rate as well.
Right. More questions still for you. First off, how much light and dust can the cornea manage before reaching its damage?
Okay. Now that's also depends. That's something which can't be answered because it's different, right?
Yeah.
See, right, light and dust causes allergies, right? Allergies then affect the whole of the eye, the conjunctiva. Okay, the stem cells also get affected. Yeah. So if a patient has a particular tendency or family history of keratoconus as well, eye rubbing causes the further increase in the chance of him developing a condition called keratoconus. So as I told, not all keratoconus patients need a transplant.
Okay.
If they reach a particular stage, if their vision is not improving with glasses, their vision is still blurry, so in those conditions only we do a transplant.
Right.
So if you have allergy, doesn't mean you will always require transplant. But the main thing is, whenever you have allergies, you immediately come to the clinic, you get the medications to clear the redness and all those things, get yourself checked for your vision once the redness clears, because most often here what we have found that with allergies, patients have keratoconus. Right?
Anthony from Kiro is watching us this morning. Thank you, Kiro. He says, I'm from Eldoret. Can I use my medical insurance to cover transplant? And I think this goes, we definitely be speaking on behalf of Lions, but then generally, this goes back to the question on cost. I don't know if we have enough, because I see we have about 4 minutes to top of the hour. But speaking of the whole bit of medical insurance as well as the whole cost, because again, as I was saying earlier before we started picking the calls, this can be a very precious bit that it is quite rare in the country. So how much will, if someone is really opting to go for the transplant and they've been told itabidi uende transplant, you'd really have to go for the transplant, how much are they working for here as well as the medical insurance?
See, the thing is, now the surgical cost depends on the type of we are transplanting. As I told you, the cost of the cornea can be done in layers as well. So depending on what type of transplant we are doing, the charges are different. Okay, if you are doing DALC, which is only the anterior part which is transplanted, if you are doing DSEC or DMEC, which is only the innermost layer which is transplanted, or the whole of the cornea, or maybe in case of part of the cornea is transplanted. So this all of these conditions have different rates. Okay? Yeah. So, and the insurances, most of them do cover.
Right.
So that is taken care of.
So it's not a blanket cost that...
no. Depending on which condition, what type of surgery also we are doing, whether it's a patch graft also, it depends.
Right. 2 more questions here. First off, what causes keratoconus? And the other one is, can myopia be cured?
Okay. So myopia is a different topic per se, but cure is mainly with, myopia is short-sightedness. So what they will need is glasses for seeing far, right? So in these patients, glasses are the main option, but later on when they cross the age of 18, they also fall in the refractive age group. That means the glasses power can be removed by doing a cornea-based surgery, that is LASIK, PRK, or other options, or maybe a lens-based surgery to put the ICL. So these are the other options which can be helped to remove the glasses power after a certain age. Okay, right. But initially when you are in the growing age group, it is very essential to wear the glasses, right? And keratoconus, coming back to keratoconus, looking at the time as well. So keratoconus is a condition, as I told, it's we are coming back to it more frequently here. It's a condition which affects the cornea. It in some percentage of patients it can be genetic or inherited as well, but in mostly it's not. Yeah. It just comes as a sporadic case there. Once in someone is affected, but sometimes we do see that other siblings are also affected. So it's very important to get your siblings also checked for the same condition, right? So that's how we come into this thing also. As I told, yearly checkup is very important from the preschool age group for everyone up to where you're living.
Right.
Everyone.
Right.
So allergies also affect the corneas. If you have a predisposition to develop a keratoconus, family history or something, and you're rubbing, then the condition can come earlier.
Right. The more questions coming in. Don't be afraid, but then Dr. will be giving her number and her contacts as well. Yeah. Someone is asking, do you offer cataract removal and you charge, Kisumu, even as you give an answer to this, you can tell us where someone can reach either you or the hospital for more of this, for the questions when it comes to eye care. Yes.
Yes, they can reach, even our marketing team is there, they do answer the questions, even secretaries, and even you can ask me also directly, that's not an issue. We are also available all the time. And for this noble act of donation, cornea donation, of course, we are ready to answer all the questions that you have in your mind. You can contact us for that.
Right. Could you give us either your direct contact?
Yes, we can do that.
Yes, you could tell us, you could repeat it twice slowly as you look at the camera, because in the wakati people start taking off their phones and papers just to write it down.
Yeah, so you can reach to me via messages. It's 07457 18825.
You could say it again slowly.
07457 18825.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Daktari, for giving us these tips.
Even I'm very grateful that this important topic of cornea donation was discussed today. And I would like everyone to pledge their eyes after that, so as to give this beautiful gift of sight to everyone and to let our eyes leave when we leave the world.
All right. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you very much, Dr. Priyaka Buhari. She is a cornea and refractive surgery specialist at Lions Hospital. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for calling in live, for texting us and throwing in all those questions. I hope umejibiwa. Kama haujajibiwa, I hope umeandika your number